Hey guys, it is Mrs. Van Newlen. We are going to be going over lesson 4.3, which is slope-intercept form. So if you can go ahead and try the warm-up if you haven't, and then we will quickly go through it. All right, so we need to find the slope of each of the lines on the graph. So the first one I need to find is line S, which is right here. So when you're finding the slope of the line, you should find two nice points. There's a lot of nice ones on here, so I'm just gonna mark two of them. And it looks like my slope is down one to the right one. So my slope is -1 over 1, which is the same as just -1. Okay, let's go to line W. If I look at line W, right away I can see it's another line going down. Okay, if you look from left to right, and then I'm gonna find some nice points. So like here's a nice one that crosses, and here's one. Okay, I'm gonna go down 2 over 1. So my slope this time is -2 over 1, which is the same as -2. The next line is line V. Okay, so if I see line V, I can put a point here, and looks like here's another nice one. Looks like it goes up 1 over 2, and it's a positive slope, so this time it's just 1/2. My next line is line R. So line R is a vertical line, so hopefully you remember what the slope of that is. If you watch Slope Dude, hopefully you remember. Otherwise, if I just pick random 2 points, it looks like I go up 2 over 0. If I write anything over 0, automatically you should know that is undefined. You cannot divide by 0. So the slope of line R is undefined. And then finally, line T looks like that is over here. I'll try to find some nice points. There are not very many nice points on this one. I believe we meant to give a horizontal line, so let's just kind of cross that one off and draw a new line T. Okay, and let's do the slope of that one. Okay, so there's my line T. A horizontal line, if I pick 2 points on it, it looks like it went up 0 over 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0, so this line has a slope of 0. So again, I just drew that new line in for that one. So that was a quick review from what we have been doing the past couple of days. So today we are still learning about linear equations, and today we're going to be able to write an equation in slope-intercept form, which you did some of last year. You're going to be able to graph a linear equation, and we are not doing whiteboard work today because we are watching this video instead. So again, this should be review. An equation is in slope-intercept form when the function is written as y equals mx plus b. So this is called slope-intercept form. And again, you learned this last year. So a couple different things that we are going to identify. So the first thing is this b in the back. You guys should know that that stands for the y-intercept. Oops, I'll write that with a pen instead. So that is my y-intercept. Okay, the next important thing that we have talked about is the slope. That is always right next to the x. So that is my slope. Okay, the x and the y, those are just the x coordinates and the y coordinates of the line. Okay, or my inputs and outputs. It can be a lot of different things depending what the situation is. Okay, so y equals mx plus b is called slope-intercept form. So for my first example, again, this is not going to be difficult, but we are going to write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that has a slope of 4/7 and a y-intercept of 5. So we can just quickly fill this in. So I'm going to write y equals, I know my slope is 4/7, so I'll write 4/7 times x, and then plus my y-intercept is 5. I just wrote an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, if I do the same thing for the next one, this time we have a slope of -5. Okay, so it's the slope is -5 and the y-intercept is 12. So if I write the equation, go ahead and you try. We should get y equals, well, my slope is -5, so I'll write -5, and then I put an x by it, and then the y-intercept is 12. Just a quick reminder, x is not the slope, okay? Only the -5 is. So the x is just, depending on what the coordinate is or what we're working with, that can change, but the slope is just the -5 part. All right, let's try a problem where we have to kind of read through a situation and write an equation. So it says, a recent survey showed the number of job openings in the U.S., or that the number of job openings in the U.S. showed an increase of an average of 0.06 million per month since May. Okay. In May, there were about 4.61 million job openings in the U.S. Write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the number of job openings in the U.S. in the months since May. Okay, so I'm going to let X be the months since May to start with. Okay, so I'm just writing that down. So X is going to be our months since May. So we want to find the total number of job openings. Well, that's going to be my Y. Okay, so Y equals, all right, I already know what I'm starting with. That's my Y-intercept, or my starting amount. That is 4.61 million jobs in May there was. So I'm going to put that in the back, 4.61, and this is in millions. That's what it started with. And then every month, it's averaging 0.06 million per month. So I'm going to do 0.06 per month. Well, X is the number of months, so I'm going to do X, okay, times X, and then plus that 4.61 that it already started with. So here's my equation in slope-intercept form. Again, if we try to interpret what this means, this is my starting amount, which is my Y-intercept. So it started with 4.61 million in May. This is my slope, what it's changing by, or my rate of change when I'm working on a word problem. Okay, so that's my slope or rate of change. And then the X, in this case, it stands for how many months went by. And the Y is going to stand for my total. So depending on the situation, like I was kind of trying to show you in the our last example, is the X and the Y can change. This number is constant, the slope, and this is what it started out with, or my Y-intercept. All right, I'd like you to read through letter B and go ahead and try that one, and then push play when you are ready. All right, so for my next one, in the first quarter of 2012, there were 183 million users on a popular social media site. So that's my starting amount. The number of users increased by an average of 9 million per year since 2012. It says, can you write an equation that represents the number of users in millions after 2012? Okay, so again, in this one, X is going to be the number of years since 2012. Okay, Y is going to be my total. Okay, we'll even say that. Let Y equals the total users. Okay, if I was going to write an equation, I'm going to say Y equals, okay, well, it's averaging, it's increasing by 9 million per year. So I'm going to say 9 million times however many years that go by. And then plus my initial value, or my starting amount, is 183 million users. Again, this is my initial value, or my Y-intercept. The 9 is what it's changing by, my rate of change. And then the X is the years since 2012, and Y is the total. Okay, so you just wrote an equation in slope-intercept form for this situation. So our next example, we are going to try to write an equation when we are given a graph. Again, we should be able to do this since you did it last year. So remember, when I'm working with equations, it's Y equals mx plus b. If I'm trying to write an equation for a line, I need my slope and I need my Y-intercept. If I can find those, it's very easy to write the equation. So I'm going to start out here, Y equals, okay, right away I can see my Y-intercept is 2. You can put a dot on the graph. So I'm going to put plus 2 in the back. That's my Y-intercept. Now I need my slope. Okay, so I'll fill in the X, and then I just need to find the slope, so I'm going to find another nice point. I'll use this one right here. Okay, it looks like I go down 2 over 4. So down 2 is negative 2 to the right 4. I'm going to simplify that to negative a half. So my slope is negative 1/2 times X, and then plus my Y-intercept is 2. There is my equation for that line. Okay, go ahead and you try the second one. Could you write an equation and slope-intercept for that graph? All right, so if we look at it, again, I'm going to start with Y equals. I see my Y-intercept is negative 3 down here. That's right here. And then my slope, it looks like I go up 2 over 1. So my slope is just 2x and then minus 3. I'll write that a little bit better. So my final equation is 2x minus 3. My Y-intercept is negative 3. My slope is 2, or 2 over 1, which is the same as 2. So there is your final equation for that graph. So in our next example, we're going to try to write the equation in slope-intercept form. I'm going to give you some information, then we're going to graph it. So again, it's just putting it all together. So if I look up here, I'm going to tell you that m, which is my slope, is negative 3/2, and my Y-intercept is 4. So let's start by writing the equation. So y equals, we start with our slope, negative 3/2, put an x by it, and then plus my y-intercept is 4. So if I was going to graph that, hopefully you guys are thinking already in your head from last year, we're going to start at 4 and put our y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4. So everybody go ahead and plot that. Now from there, we're going to use our slope to get our next point. My slope is negative 3/2. So I like to just put that negative on the top and think, well, that's my rise. Here's my run. If it's a negative, I'm going to go down 3. So from here, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and then I go to the right 2. Okay, so if you use the negative on the top, on the going down, then you always go to the right. So I'm going to go down 3 over 2. Put my next point. I'm going to do that again. So down 1, 2, 3 over 2. Get my next point, and then you probably don't have a ruler with you, but using a straight edge or get it as straight as you can, draw a line and put some arrows on both ends, and you just graph that line. All right, I'd like you to try letter B. So pause the video and give it a try. All right, so for letter B, hopefully we have y equals, your slope was 3, so 3x. My y-intercept was minus 3, or negative 3. When you went to graph it, your y-intercept should be down 3 right here. Okay, my slope this time is 3, or 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3 over 1 from that blue point. So I'll go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, put a point. I'm going to do that again. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1. If I wanted to go get a point down here, I'm going to go down 3, just do opposite, and back 1. So I'll add another one. 2, 3, back 1. Okay. Now I'm going to connect it. Again, I do not have a ruler on here, so I can't do it perfectly straight. And then put some arrows on the end, and you just graphed that line. All right, at this point, we would have done a little bit of whiteboard work with slope-intercept form. So since we can't do that, since your teachers are not there, I'm just going to give you a quick little overview of what it would have looked like. So one might have looked like this. I might have given you an equation like this, and I might have said, could you identify the slope and the y-intercept? Okay. Think about that for a second. How are you going to find the slope and y-intercept of that line? Okay, so hopefully maybe you would have come up with, we need to rewrite it so it's in slope-intercept form. Okay, so to do that, I want to isolate the y. I want to get the y by itself. Okay, so I can rewrite this equation so it does say y equals, and we did this earlier this year. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I end up with y equals 20 minus x. Now to write this in slope-intercept form, I'm just going to rearrange it. I'm going to put the x first. So I'm going to put negative x plus 20. Now it's in slope-intercept form, and I can clearly see the y-intercept is 20. So that's my b value. And my slope, there's not a number in front of the x, but really it's a negative 1 there. So there is my slope, negative 1. Then from there, we would have asked you to graph it. So let me give you another one. I might have given you something like this. Negative 22x plus 8y equals 4. And I might have said, okay, find me the slope and the y-intercept and then graph it. So again, since it's not in y equals mx plus b form, let's solve it for y. So I'm going to start by adding 22x to both sides. Okay, that zeroes out. I get 8y equals, I'm going to right away just rearrange it. Put my x first, 22x plus 4. Then I have one more step. I need to divide by 8. Okay, and on the other side, I need to divide everything by 8. So I need to divide this and that by 8. So I end up with y equals, well, I have 22/8. If we can, try to simplify it. So I can divide those by 2. So I get 11/4 x. So my slope is 11/4. And then plus 4/8, that's the same as a half, plus a half. Now I can easily identify my slope, which is 11/4. So I would go up 11 over 4, and my y-intercept, or b value, is a half. So lastly, let's try to put this all together. Why don't you go ahead and try this last problem? Can you rewrite it in slope-intercept form, find your slope, find your y-intercept, and then graph it? So pause the video and try that, and then push play when you're ready to check it. All right, so first thing, again, let's solve it for y equals. So I'm going to add 10x to both sides. So I get negative 20y equals, I'm going to put the 10x first, plus 40. And then my last step, I am going to divide everything by negative 20. Okay, I'm going to do all three terms here I get 1y equals, if I've got 10 over negative 20, I can simplify that to negative 1/2 x. And then 40 divided by negative 20 is negative 2. Okay, so if I look at that now, I know my y-intercept is negative 2 here. So that's my y-intercept value. That's my b value. And my slope here is negative 1/2. Okay, so now if I want to graph that, I'm going to start with my y-intercept of negative 2. Go ahead on your graph. And then my slope is negative 1/2. So my rise and my run, I'm going to go down 1 to the right 2. So go down 1, right 2. Do it again, down 1, right 2. Okay, I'm going to get some points going the other way. Instead, I'll go up 1, backwards 2, or left 2. Okay, I've got 4 nice points there. I can go ahead and graph that and put a line through it and arrows on the end. Now, just as a quick refresher, because you are going to have a little quiz tomorrow, could have you right away graph this too using another method? Let's just kind of think through this quick. Okay, this equation right now is written in standard form here in blue. Could have you found the x and y intercepts? Hopefully you remember for x-intercepts, you plug in a y for 0 and solve it. And for y-intercepts, you plug in a 0 for x and then solve it for your 2 intercepts. If you found your 2 intercepts, then you could graph it. So that's just a quick refresher that you can also find x and y intercepts very quickly when it's written in standard form. So your learning goal for today was we're learning about linear equations still. Can you write an equation in slope-intercept form? Hopefully you can. Can you graph a linear equation? You might have to rewrite it first to find the slope and the y-intercept. And can you write a linear equation from a situation? We didn't put that in the learning intention, but you should be able to do that as well. All right, your assignment then is a class kick to practice what you have learned today and then some of the stuff that we learned in the first 3 lessons